you guys welcome in. Who's excited for this panel? Awesome. So as we're welcoming in, let's get started. We're just going to have our guests introduce themselves really quickly, and then we can start lining up for questions right here in the middle row. Would you guys want to start by introducing yourselves?
はい、マイナンコスタジオの原田です。もう、ちょっとファインディングゲームコミュニティとは違うところなので、まさかこんなに来ると思わなかったんですけど、簡単にご紹介すると、鉄拳というゲームを30年以上作ってます。実は鉄拳以外にもいろいろソロキャリア、そうです、いろいろ VR じゃプロデューサーと実はやるゲームになってプロダクションとかマーケティングをやったりします。はい、今日はどんな質問でもある程度答えられる。
I know it's long, but I remember everything he said, so don't worry. Obviously, most of you know this is Harada from Bandai Namco Studio. He's been working on the Tekken series for over 30 years now. Not only Tekken, and since this is a different crowd than what we're normally used to with hardcore Tekken fans, I assume there's some other people that maybe know Tekken or just came out of curiosity. But outside of Tekken, he's also worked on several other games over the years, such as Soul Calibur or VR games, also production marketing for Elden Ring, actually. So I made many different hats, right? And so we'll be taking questions, I guess, and answering them later. Myself, I'm Michael Murray. I've been on the Tekken project myself for 25 years now. I've been living in Japan for 30, so that's more than I ever lived in the US. I'm fluent in Japanese and English, obviously. We've been working together for such a long time that I'm able to remember everything and translate it properly. So thank you all. Also, game designer, producer is my official title.
Awesome, thank you so much, guys. Now we're just going to have some people start to line up in this middle row. If you have any questions, I'm just going to ask you what it is, and then you can direct it to our lovely guests.
Okay, hello, Murray and Harada. I just want to know, it's been about 2 years, Tekken 8's been out, and it's been quite sad to not see any Jack in some high-level tournaments. And I was just wondering, when are we going to see some more loving buffs to our good friend Jack?
But he's declined to comment. He said I should do it.
Thank you very much.
It's difficult. Jack's always been a very interesting character to balance. We've seen him at various different levels throughout, first at Tekken 7 and Tekken 8. Maybe we'll just have to get Anakin to practice up a little bit more.
I'm trying to get him to play a little more.
But Jack is unique in that it's hard to get a perfect balance between what's fun for the Jack players and what's oppressive for the opponents, right? It's not just Jack, there's a few characters in the Tekken 8 lineup that are like that. So, it's something that we're continually looking at. I think for 8, it stands out that a lot of different characters we're seeing so far in the top 10 of any particular tournament, more so in the past than for any Tekken, actually. That said, we do continually evaluate results, not only for tournament play, but also average play across all different player groups, right? So it's something that will be addressed. It's not 2 years, it's actually only a year and a bit since Tekken 8's been out, so we're still balancing not just the individual characters, but also the game system themselves. So obviously it's not in a perfect state at the moment, and those will be readdressed. I don't know about Jack in particular at any time, but it is something that we're keeping an eye on. So if you have valid comments, please send them to Tekken 8 report. We do look at those if it's not, hey, make my character strong, Yeah, we actually do, not just us sending it to the team, but the game designers and balance team do look at them themselves, so you have access. Obviously, they can't reply to people, but they are looking at that. So if you have concrete issues that you would like to recommend, or a bug or something like that that hasn't been addressed yet, please send it there.
All right, thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hello, this question's for Harada-san. Whenever you first started out in Tekken, it was Tekken 1 and 2, you had worked on that. But whenever you started with Tekken 3, you had become a director for that game. Is there any historical story that you can share with us about whenever you started as a director for Tekken 3?
そうですね、僕らの会社は、最初は全員ゲームセンターのスタッフから始まります。どうでしょう。で僕はもともと開発ではなくて、もともとその営業の方から実は入社したんですけど、入社してすぐに売り上げをいろんなその他のゲームとかの大会で、結構売り上げ上げて社長賞になったので、そこでいろいろこう社長にこう直接言えるようになったんですよ、入社していきなり1年目で。で、この時に何の知識もなかったんですけど、開発のスキルがなかったんですけど、お客さんが考えてることとか求めてるものを僕は多分実現することができるので、僕の言う通りに作れば絶対に売れるゲームが作れるってことを、今思えばすごくバカな発言だと思うんですけど、全員周りに言ったんです。その社長だけじゃなくて、開発に移った瞬間から、今日から僕の言うことを聞いてくれると、すごく売れるゲームができますっていうことを、本当に信じたんです、それを。で、それをすごい言ったら、みんな、分かった、じゃあどうすればいいのって言われて、始めたっていうのが、自分の体験なんですけど、今思えばとんでもないバカだなと思ってます。
はい、根拠がないです。
全く根拠がないから、今思えば本当にバカなんですけど、僕がそんなやつ言ったらすごい嫌です。
So he was just recalling that maybe not many people know this, but in the company we worked for at the time, it was Namco, now it's Namco Entertainment Studios. But Namco used to start off all of their employees in the arcades, and you would actually be doing everything that entails, maintaining the machines and whatnot. So he wasn't originally assigned to development for games. It was strictly the arcade. So normally you'd spend a few weeks or whatever training and then go to development, but he was strictly in the arcades for the first part. But while he was doing tournaments and other events for games that weren't Tekken at the time, the location he was at had very good income, a huge increase in income, and so he actually received like special awards and stuff from the president of the company and all that. So even in his first year, which is kind of unheard of to do this, he had direct access to the president to kind of like give him ideas and things like that. And so he actually said, I know what people who play Tekken, what they want from the game more than anyone. If you let me decide, I can make it the best it could be. And so he's quite, he said that sounds really stupid now, looking back at it. But he was young back then, right? And then so when he did join that part of the development team, even to, the senpai or the other people who were already there, he would just be like, yeah, leave it to me. I can definitely make it better than it is now. And so that's kind of how he got to start, which is kind of embarrassing to think back at. And he said that if I ran into some young kid say that to me now, I probably wouldn't like it very much. But that's kind of the unique experience that he had.
Arigato, thank you so much.
Okay, this one is for Harada-san. This one is for Harada-san. I know that rollback has been implemented in Tekken 7 and 8, but does he still consider it to be a buzzword for rollback?
Sorry, what do you mean buzzword for rollback?
Like, when it was mentioned on social media a few years back, when we were trying to get rollback in Tekken 7, he said it was a buzzword, but now it's also in Tekken 8. So does he still consider rollback a buzzword?
7と8、まあ、まず7、ロールバックにしたせいで、7のロールで、スニックが、まあ、ミスターのは、それをバズワードとか、いろいろ種類ですね。ああ、8にクリスティックがバズワードで、
ああ、バズワードっていうのは、バズワードって意味はどういう意味で言ってるかというと、マジックワードとかバズワード、それでもいいんですけど、多分皆さんもそれぞれ自分のスペシャリストなことがあると思うんですよね、お仕事やってる。で、自分のやってる仕事で他人から見たらすごくシンプルに見えてることでも、本当は同じ、例えば事務仕事って一言言ってるものすごいいろんな種類があるじゃないですか。で、それを一言で事務仕事って言われると、いや、本当は、やる場所とかやるものによって全然仕事のやり方違いますよって多分全部説明したいけど、面倒くさいので、みんながまあ事務仕事って言うんだったら、まあそれは一言で事務仕事っていうマジックワードだと思ってるでしょ、それで片付くと思ってるでしょって言いたくなるじゃないですか。それと同じ感じで、実はロールバックってすごい概念自体はある程度シンプルなものなんですけど、ゲームによって全然違うんですよ、導入の仕方が。で、特に 3D 格闘ゲームはもう皆さんが想像してるような 2D 格闘ゲームと全く違うんです。全く違います、正直言うと。これを理解したい人が多いんです。で、そもそも 2D 格闘と 3D 格闘がもう全く同じものだと思ってる時点で全然、実はゲームのジャンルがそもそも違うんですけど、作り方も全然違うし、処理も全然違うし、だからロールバックと同じ、例えば 2D 格闘のロールバックと 3D 格闘のロールバックが違うし、鉄拳のロールバックとなんかのワンタイトルとも違うし、2D の中でも違うんですけど、そこら辺の導入の仕方、もしくは中の構造とか、最も注意しなきゃいけないポイントとかも全く違うのに、それを一塊にして、なんだろうな、注射みたいな、なんか、万能の注射みたいな、一本の注射、すべての病気を治す、もしくはすべてに効きますみたいなキーワードで一言で言われると、いや、それはマジックワードになりすぎないよっていう。そうそうそう、そんな一言で解決するのが世の中みんなそれやれば全員解決するじゃんっていう、そんなわけないでしょっていうことを言うために、まあちょっとなんだろう、肉じゃない、そういう表現をしたことがある。
So the whole rollback thing, him calling it a buzzword, maybe didn't get across to everyone, apparently, it seems. So what he was trying to say was that many people throw around the word, rollback without exactly knowing what it means. It's just like, oh, if it has rollback, then it'll be fine, so just do rollback. If you're, everyone here probably has some kind of job, and maybe some part of it is a specialist that only you know compared to the average person, right? So comparing it to, for example, office work, you can say that to describe someone's role, but there are many things that someone who doesn't do that might think, well, we just do this and this and it's fine, right? But they don't know the intricacies of what that entails, so they just say, oh, but it's office work. And that's kind of what he meant to rollback, is that people don't really understand what they're talking about. Because, for example, 2D games have rollback, and everyone's like, oh, we'll just do the same thing for 3D, but they're totally different genres. The way they're created is totally different. So it's not just like one solution fits everything kind of thing, but people who don't understand rollback just think, oh, if it has rollback, it's awesome. If it doesn't, it sucks. They don't understand it, but then they just like to throw around the word, which makes it quite difficult. So he wasn't really calling it a buzzword like that. It's just like, it's a magic word or whatever you want to call it, where just someone can use it and it sounds like they know what they're talking about, but they don't understand it exactly. And so that's not ideal, right? To do that. So that's what he was trying to say, and it kind of maybe it was a little bit, taking the piss out of someone, I guess you could say, because they're not realizing even that fact that they haven't studied what rollback is, but they're telling someone, you know, hey, you need to do rollback or your game sucks, or you didn't do it a certain way. Well, okay, what's the right way? Do you know? I think all that nuance was kind of lost because this is usually taking place on Twitter, so. Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Murray, very nice to meet you. I had a question earlier, but then I switched it for a better one. Because the lore of Tekken includes 3 bad guys, the Mishimas.
Only 3?
Well, mainly those 3. I know there's more, but it's mainly Kazuya, Heihachi, and Jin. And they all turn to be really bad at the end, or in some progress. My question is, what the hell?
In what kind of meaning?
We're following the bad guys.
なんでその悪者のストーリー中心になってるかっていう。
Like Kazuya was even worse than his father.
Would you play the game if it was just everyone's happy and everything is just cool?
No, I'm not saying that.
Maybe fighting? I don't know.
I'm not saying that. I think it's badass, but to be following the bad guy or the protagonist who turns out to be even worse than his father. What was the inspiration behind that?
そうした最新の北京エイジの人の話題が出たっていうのがあって
最近はどっちかっていうとジンをみんないい人にしたい若い人が多いから、みんな良くなってる。
Well, okay, we'll delve into it, but just for people who are new to the series, if you actually look at Tekken 8, the latest installment, Jin does, I think you're referring mostly to his Tekken 6 arc, but for the current one, he's kind of has a redemption arc in there because a lot of our staff want to make him into kind of a good guy, I guess. But, yeah, back to your original question.
で、あとはちょっと日本人の発想的に、なんか僕のこれ勝手なイメージですよ。アメリカでやってすごくファミリーっていう、もう例えば夫婦とかファミリーっていつもちゃんと一緒にいるとか、なんかすごいファミリーの愛があるとか、すごいこう結束力が強いっていうイメージがあるんですけど、日本ってなんかなぜか夫婦も結婚したら意外と別にずっと一緒じゃないとか、親子関係も例えば僕とかだと親に前に僕は中学校2年生まで世界中のどの家庭も夜の7時から8時の1時間夕食を食べた後の1時間は親と畳がある部屋で決闘の時間で呼んでたんですけど、戦う時間があったんです本当に。でそれはどの家庭が世界中の家庭がやってるって聞かされてたし、僕はそうだと思ってやってたんですけど、そうじゃなかったって後で気づいたんですけど、そういうなんて子供が親を超えなきゃいけないみたいなことをすごい教えられるんですよ日本で。なんかそういうのが結構鉄拳に影響しているとは思います。
So you're just saying that the image of family is maybe quite different than Japan and US, for example. In the US, looking at it now, it seems like everyone is, very close knit with their families, kids, children, with their parents, husband and wife, partners, whatever you want to say. But Japan is quite different, saying that like even with a husband and wife partners, after they get married, it's not all lovey-dovey like it is here. A lot of times it's just like almost kind of a business-like relationship, and sometimes so you're not always together all the time, or even father and son or kids is quite different because he said when he was young, when he was in junior high, I think he was saying, an hour after dinner, they always had this thing called duel time, and we're not talking Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like fighting. Where they had the tatami room, which many Japanese houses used to have, and his father and him would fight, for an hour. and the thinking was, well, his father told him that all households around the world do this, it's a normal thing. That kind of shaped who he was, right? And he kind of thought that that's a normal thing. But jokes aside, maybe more so than the West Japanese mentality is that, especially for fathers and sons, that you're expected to be better and stronger than your father and to, go beyond them. So this kind of thinking probably shaped that lore as well.
でもアメリカってハリウッド系のすごい売れてるドラマとか、例えばプリズンブレイクとか、ウォーキングデッドとか、ブレイキングバットって、
それ正常な感じじゃ
わかんない、僕らから見たら全部出てくるやつみんな悪いから、やっぱり悪い人が出てくるものって売れるのかなってイメージがあるんですけど。
It's like, well, if you look at the families in the West, you have like the brothers in Prison Break or Breaking Bad and stuff like that. That's not your typical American family, but okay. They said that these kind of popular forms of media in the West also feature bad people or people who have a bad facet to them, right? So it just seems that that's something that a lot of people like, regardless of West or East.
ありがとうございます。Thank you for letting us ask you for shit.
Hi, is this working? Yes. I wanted to ask, so as a casual player, someone who just started with Tekken 8, oftentimes balancing is done in favor of like tournament play and high level play. I was wondering, do you also balance for like more like low level players? Is that different? How do you go about it? How do you meld that together with having to make sure it's fun to play at a tournament level, but also just with your buddy who doesn't know how to press a button?
Good question.
いや、そこはすごいいいポイントの質問だと思います。そこがまさにすごい一番難しくて、おっしゃる通り、多分トーナメントプレイヤーって、ね、例えば鉄拳、8はまだ売ってる最中なんであれですけど、7でいうと、例えばもう、販売完了してるものなんで、あれ1200から1300万本ぐらい出てるんですけど、そのうちのトーナメントプレイヤーの数でいうと、全体の 1% もいないわけじゃないですか。世界に売れてる数から換算すると。でも彼らの影響力って大きいんですよね。彼らが一言、誰が強すぎるって言っちゃうと、みんながそうなんだよなと思うし、もしくは大会でパンダなんて誰も強くないって言ってたのに、パンダが優勝すると急にパンダが強すぎるってみんなが言い出すんで。だこれは、印象論でしかないじゃないですか。で僕らは統計を取ってて、実は例えば鉄拳7の悪魔とかは全然勝率は低いんですよ。39% とかひどい時で 37% になっちゃうんですね、どのキャラに対しても。つまり負け越してるんですけど、それでもやっぱり大会で強い人がいると強いって言われるので、それを難とするとみんなバランスが良くなったって急に言うんですよね。でもみんな知ってるわけですよ。初級者とか中級者の人はあれおかしいんだって、僕悪魔とかパンダより普段なぜかボールとかにボコボコにされてる、ボールとかキングにやられてる、そうパナとかにやられてるのに、それをなんで上手い人は騒がないんだろう。僕はいかがだったかなと思ってるんですけど、世の中の人は実は 90% 以上はそう思ってるけど、インフルエンサー的な人が意見が強いので、その印象論にみんなが引っ張られちゃう。この関係性はすごく難しくて、我々は本当は全員に対していいって言われるように作りたいんですけど、一回すごい調査をやったことがあって、例えば小中学生とかは手が長いクマとかパンダが強いっていうし、中級者はエディが強いし、上級者になるほどそこのキャラじゃないんですよね。ってことは誰にとっての最適がいい答えなのかっていうのが難しいんだけど、さっき言った通り今はどっちかというと声が大きい人たちが SNS で騒ぐと それが正義になっちゃうので、そことデータ上の真実っていうものと付き合わせて日々悩んでるっていう感じですね。答えがないですね。日々悩んでます。
You say that's a good point. That's something a lot of people don't actually think about often. It seems like many people just look at the top less than 1% who are pro players or actually go out to tournaments frequently, and their opinion seems to be taken over everything, right? Because they have more followers or they just have a bigger voice than many people. So many of the characters that they say are too strong. For example, we'll talk mainly about Tekken 7 because that was out for quite some time. Tekken 8 is a brand new game with just a year, so it's kind of a work in progress, right? But for Tekken 7, many people said Akuma, the pro players I mean, were like, Akuma's so powerful. He was nerfed like several times, but if you look at the overall data, so we try to take those opinions balanced with all the data that we can take on the back end about actually what the stats are for different player groups. And overall, the win rate for Akuma was like less than 36%. So, but since the pro players say, oh, he's too strong, he needs to be nerfed, that a lot of people just start going, oh, well, so-and-so said it, so it must be true. So you kind of have to address it anyways because of just the way things are like that. So it's quite tough because on the other hand, like someone who's brand new to the game might say Kuma or Panda is too strong because they have a hard time with him. But then pro players would say, what are you talking about? That's not the case until round 2-1, 2018 maybe. Or just other cases like Haran or Eddie, a lot of times people who are beginner to intermediate will say they're way too strong, but you never hear top players complain about those characters. So it's totally different depending on the player group. And we really try to balance the game so that everyone can have a good time with it. But like you said, that's so different for whether you're a pro player or casual or intermediate or whatever. So it's often hard for any particular group to feel like, oh, this game is perfect for me, because trying to balance for all of those is quite difficult.
Thank you so much.
This is a question for both of you. First of all, I want to say thank you for making big men like Bob playable.
Are you Slim Bob in the back? We got two Bobs.
Speed and weight, baby. Speed and weight.
Nice.
Since there has been very more positive live action adaptations to like media, if you guys were in charge of casting or like producing, would you do a live action series or movie based on the entire Tekken lore?
ライブアクションはすごいやりたいんですけど、で確かに過去の鉄拳2つはすごいクソ映画クソ映画で、じゃあ僕みたいな時はあれは、ある意味原作者がクソ映画って言っても、じゃあお前が監督やってみるよとか、僕が実写の映画撮ったらとんでもない、みんなが見たことない、多分ロッテントマトで記録を出すぐらいひどい映画ができると思うんですよ。だからそういう意味で言うと、やっぱり実写は実写のプロがいるので、そういう人たちにそのプロの中でも逆に言うと鉄拳が好きな人が作ってくれるとよりいいのかなとは思ってる。でもなかなかそういう人はいないと思うので、そこは難しいですけど、そういうところがクリアできたら別に僕がそんなに自由にできなくても監修できなくても任せれる人がいたらトライをもっとしてみたいですよ。
So Harada was saying that it's hard to say. The first two Tekken live action movies were total crap. I said it a bit more politely than he said it, but on the other hand, if someone said, okay, you can have full control over it and you can make it like you want, he said he has confidence that he would gain a new record on Rotten Tomatoes for really shitty movies. So it's really hard. The best way would probably be if we have someone who really gets the franchise and is a Tekken fan themselves, but has that skill set of making an engaging movie. Would probably be the best way. And I personally would add, I worked heavily on the Tekken anime Bloodline, rewriting the script and doing all that stuff. So I really enjoyed that. Like he said, it's a different skill set, so it's the best if you have someone who knows what makes a good scene for media that's not interactive. It's totally a viewer experience. But at the same time, we get to make it more authentic, or since we have a better insight into what the characters would think or feel in certain instances, to be able to change the script or do these kind of things was a really good experience during the anime. And I'd love to try something similar for the movie. If, like he said, we could find someone who really got the series and wasn't trying to just cash out for Hollywood or to make it something that it's not. So, I totally enjoy it because it's totally different than making a video game. It challenges you to think differently outside the box, but to try to keep something that still fans of the video game series are going to love. And also hopefully people who don't even know what Tekken is. So hopefully if you guys know anyone who's like that, push them to contact us.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Hello, Mr. Harada.
Hi. Testing.
Greetings, Mr. Harada. I want to tell you my appreciation for the Tekken music throughout the franchise, throughout the years. It's been a great inspiration, and man, it's just like all over the place. And I just want to keep it simple. I want to ask, what is your favorite soundtrack? It doesn't have to be from Tekken. It could be from any video game.
Like video game, you mean?
No, video game soundtrack.
Yeah, of any video game, even outside of Tekken.
Yes.
できない。おお。
ね。旧世系のやつ結構好きなの。
いいね。確かに日本史の時代よ。格ゲーの音楽結構好き。
So it's hard to pick because he's never thought about it. But we were just talking about when we did the stage for Geese and making that song was amazing. And if you had to pick maybe some of the old SNK classic fighting games that had really banger soundtracks.
もしかしてセガのアウトランド。
Ah, okay. Or Sega's Outrun, for example.
Woo!
Hello?
Hello? Okay, I think we got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so staying on the subject of guest characters, one of the complications that comes with guest characters is making sure that they're
I can hear you.
is making sure that that once they're in a game, they don't typically come back. So what my question is to you guys is, have you guys ever given any thought to bringing back a guest character's moveset as a original character? For example, my thought is you should probably, not you should probably, but it'd be cool to see Negan again, but in the form of a caveman with a club.
Oh yeah. I like Negan, bro.
Yeah, it was really good. Well done. Random little when the trailer came out, I was like,
まずベストキャラクターはこれ難しいんですよ。すごいお互いやりたいと思ってても実は開発やりたい。例えば向こうのプロデューサーはやりたいけど向こうのマーケターがタイミングが悪いって言ってできないとか、お互いやりたいって言ってるのに PR のタイミングが違うからできない、発売のタイミングが違うからできないとか、いろんな事情でダメなことが多いんですよね。結構すんなりいく方が珍しいぐらいで、なんでそこで決まっちゃうから僕らがいくら戻したいと思うけども、ちょっと今 今やってください、2年後だったらいいですって言われると、僕ら2年後だとちょっとってなるんじゃないですか。そういうので決まるっていうのが難しいのと、じゃあ他のキャラに使っていいかというと、法律的には問題ないんですけど、道徳的にちょっと、いや、これ、そっちの、例えばニーガなんて、ニーガの AMC からすると、いや、なんか僕らのね、ニーガの多分作った文字セット、他のキャラが使われると、なんかちょっと僕ら残念ですって僕ら言われちゃうと、今後仕事やりにくくなるので、ちょっと難しいと思うんですよ。それだったら頑張ってニーガの出す方がいい。
Just saying that licensed characters are difficult in general, and that, for example, if we were going to bring back another character, it really has to work out for the licensor as well. And maybe their timing doesn't work, and wait 2 years or something. We can't wait 2 years. So, okay, why don't we just take the new set and, like you said, add it to an original character? Legally, we could probably get away with it, but it's not going to really be a good thing for our relationship with. We'll talk about Negan since you brought that up. AMC, for example, they're gonna know, hey, this is the moveset for Negan. You guys made it into a caveman. We're not too happy about that, and then it would be more difficult to work with them in the future. So it would be better to just try to talk to them about getting Negan now.
あとはね、ゲストキャラクターちょっと面白いトピックがあって、出してほしいゲストキャラあるとき、あんまりみんなで騒がない方がいいんですよ。騒ぐじゃないですか。で、鉄拳ファンも大騒ぎします。鉄拳にぴったりで出してくれってみんなが騒ぐと、騒いでちょっと SNS で話題になっちゃったりすると、他社さんが他社のゲームとか、あ、これいいアイデアだっつって、先回りしてライセンスお金払って取っちゃって、で僕らが行った時にはもう話できないとか、結構そういうことが起きるんで、本当に出してほしいキャラみんなこっそり教えてほしいなっていう。
You said just an interesting aside that people who want a certain guest character, it's actually not a great idea to have everyone on social media say that, because then other companies are like, oh, okay, well, this is kind of popular, let's put it in our game. And they might get there before us, and then you won't see it in the game. So you should probably keep it like a really low voice when you talk about that stuff. So that other companies don't pick it up before us.
今までも起きてますし、この
It's
先
happened before, actually,
この先も起きます。
and probably will continue if this thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey guys, sorry I couldn't bring Ken-chan today. He's in his room, but
You're jobless today, huh?
yeah. I have a question for both of y'all actually. I mean, how do I say it? So Miary Zo, right? The fourth character. There's been theories I'd looked at with her chains, whatnot, having the emblem, whatnot, her red eyes, and her having fighting style from other animals compared to like ogre fighting styles from people he absorbed. Is she like an avatar or a vessel for ogre per se? I mean, that might be shooting too far in the gun, right? Before she releases the type of hint, something, 'Cause I think most of us think she was related to ogre. I just wanted to know, Oh.
話題になってるじゃん。そこは言えなくて、もうちょっと。Yeah, that's a really interesting question. We've noticed online all this stuff that's going on, and this is the kind of thing we love, right? When people are, and this is interesting you brought this up, because this is not what he said, but what I'm saying is, there is discussion where people are like, tell us who everyone is in the season pass right away. So we need to know if we want to buy it.
Sure.
Which, I get, it makes sense. You want to know what you're paying for, right?
Oh.
But then this thing that's happened with Miary Zo is what used to happen a long time ago with Tekken characters or any fighting game characters, where you get little pieces at a time and people are like, oh, I wonder who that is. Is it this?
Sure.
Is this kind of martial art or whatever?
Sure.
Looks like you guys are having a good time, right?
We are, yeah. We like the lore. We do.
So with that in mind, we can't say anything new today, but not too far into the future, we'll have more details.
Okay.
A lot more stuff coming out.
Yes, sir.
So I think we'll answer your question at that time.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Hi, so my question is for Harada. I'm a big martial law fan, and I remember seeing that Harada voiced martial law for a bit. I was wondering what was the background about it, and if you had any inspiration, like voicing martial law with like watching a lot of Bruce Lee movies or anything like that.
そうですね、もちろん僕、ブルース・リーが大好きで見てたのもあるんですけど、そもそも、モーションキャプチャーをやってる時に、僕、現場でその手伝いだったりとか、昔ケーブル持たなきゃいけなかったんですけど、今みたいに光学式じゃなくて直式って言うんですけど、アクターがとんでもないケーブルついてるんですね。それを、そうそう、そのケーブル持ちながら、演技指導もしなきゃいけないんですけど、その時に、僕が一生懸命、チャって言いながら、こうです、こうですと、ブルース・リーの真似をしながら言ってたら、その時のサウンドの担当の人は、サウンドの佐野さんっていう有名な人ですけど、佐野さんです。原田君が声やったらいいんじゃないこれっつって、一回中国書を言って、やるようになったんですけど、その時に吉光のプロジェクトやってっていうのがきっかけでやってました。
So you're just saying that back in the day he was helping out with motion capture, and now it's kind of I don't know what you call it, optical, the way that they do it. It's just you don't have any kind of cables or whatever attached to you when you're doing it. But back in the day it was magnetic, and they had these huge cables attached to the actor that he would have to hold to make sure it doesn't get in the way when they're doing the motions. And when he was trying to explain like how they wanted it to look for a certain martial law at the time, he was like, you should just do it like this one. And then the sound guy, his name's Sano Denji, is kind of famous now, but back in the day he was the person in charge of the sound, said, we should get you in the studio and you can do the voice, and we wouldn't have to hire an actor. So he did the voice for martial law, but also Yoshimitsu. I mean, of course, he said he watched a lot of movies and etc. to get the feeling for it, but that's how that came about.
Awesome, that's really cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Harada San and Dirty.
ブルース・リーってここで歌って書き込まないで。
Don't write about this on social media because it's not Bruce Lee at all. We did never look at Bruce Lee.
Tekken 5 has such great graphics. At times, it hardly looks like it runs on PS2 hardware. Can you give any insights into how such graphical quality was made possible?
いや実は5が良かったっていうかは、4の時の描画がすごかったんですよ。実際技術的にはですよ。皆さんが見た絵の中では5がいいとか、例えば7がいいとか8がいいとかいう人は、3が良かったっていう人もいるし、
絵作りの
絵作りとしては好みがあると思うんですけど、技術が分かる人間から見ると、実は鉄拳4って結構すごいですよ、あの時にしろ。あの時のベースがあったんで、でもちょっと技術がいくら良くても、一般の普通のお客さんが、なんか、すごいって言ってくれなきゃ意味がないよね。で、ひょっとしたら、本当に技術的にすごいことをやるよりも、なんか、例えば、絶妙な微妙な色合いを出すよりは、キラッと赤い方がいいんじゃないかとか、黒いところは黒い、赤いところは赤い、青は青みたいにやった方が、一般の人分かりやすいんじゃないで、ちょっと4の反省を生かして、言い方悪いんですけど、子供に見せたら喜ぶような絵にしてみようってやったら、やっぱりすごいみんなに評価されたって感じです。4はちょっと意識があったんですけど、5はマイケル・ベイのマイケル・ベイでしたね。
So you're just saying, actually, Tekken 4 was more technologically advanced as far as graphics go. It's just that maybe not many people, like if you're talking from a strictly technical aspect, but not many people really noticed. So after 4, the team kind of went back and said, well, what can we do to have like your average person say, hey, this looks awesome. And so, of course, they had 4 as a base, but taking the colors and making it more drastic, or doing these little things, the look of the graphics and the overall presentation, to make it so that anyone could like it, right? Even a kid is what he said. And then I was just mentioning that it's kind of like, you know, for 4 it was the European taste, and 5 is like the over-the-top Michael Bay approach. He said, yeah, that's what so it's just not necessarily from a technical aspect, it's just the way that the look was tailored for a more general audience.
Arigato. Hello. This question is kind of for both of you. I just want to know, where is Lucky Chloe? Is she safe? And is she going to come to Tekken 8?
My man.
I mean, she's my main.
そうですね。実はちょっとラッキークロエは僕すごいお気に入りのキャラなんですよ。僕が、全部のキャラ好きなんですけど、ちょっと失敗しちゃったんですよね。僕アプローチに本当はラッキークロエってああ見えてクソ性格が悪いっていうキャラを描きたかったんですけど、ちょっと中途半端になっちゃって、もう一回仕切り直させてくださいっていうのが本音ですね。
You're just saying that, yeah, that character, you know, it's he views it as kind of a, what would you call it, a failure on his part, because the original concept was, you know, this very cute girl, but she's got like a horrible personality. It didn't come across as much that way as he'd hoped in the game. So if we were to bring it back, he'd like to try to make it more close to that original concept, probably.
Yeah, make her edgy or something. That'd be awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. This question is for both of y'all. So, why did y'all choose cliffs specifically for the Mishimas to get thrown off of? And why was it the volcano as well?
あれなんですよ。これ多分アメリカのことわざなんのかな
多分中国じゃない。
違うのかな本当は中国なんだけど、日本で結構有名なことわざは虎の親は子を谷に落とすっていう、強く育てるために谷に落とすっていうことわざがあるんですけど、それをそのまま実現したら這い上がってきちゃったんで、ちょっと次は這い上がれない場所って探してたら火山になったり宇宙大気圏外になったりどんどんエスカレートしてるって感じです。
So he was saying that it's probably a Chinese proverb, but I don't know what the original way it's phrased is, but something like tigers would throw their offspring down a cliff, well not necessarily a cliff, but somewhere, hoping that they climb back up to make them stronger. So that's kind of the idea behind it. And it just kind of escalated from there, from the cliff to strap to a rocket into outer space. It's interesting you mention that because you don't really see the whole picture in the series, right? Where they're just throwing it and then you don't see it after that, maybe because he's doing that smirk or whatever. But in 7, you actually see Heihachi like getting thrown properly into the volcano. He looks dead. And that's because at the time, Harada, he told me and the director, Nakatsu, we're going to kill Heihachi for real. It has to be believable. He's been dead so many times. And I said, like, oh, okay, if you say so. And we made it so convincing that at 8 he was like, I didn't really mean that. What do you mean? Nakatsu, you did say that, but okay. So we actually put a lot of thought into how to bring them back. So
Thank you.
yeah, I guess we should be careful in the future.
今落とす場所なくなっちゃったんで、世界中の人からアメリカのいい落とす場所とかでここいいですよってとこあったら教えてください。
We're running out of ideas to throw people from, so if you have any in the States that make a good candidate, let us know. Waffle House, they're all small, right? I think just going into Waffle House might be how to do that, right?
Hey guys, it's a pleasure to meet you both. I have a question mainly for Mr. Harada. Of all of the characters we're at a Waffle House eating, a fight breaks out. Who throws the first punch and why?
I'd say you, man. That's So it's probably gonna be Brown, he's always on edge and he's the hothead kind of, right? So he's probably the first one to throw a punch at another fighter or the staff or a customer.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
I have a question for both of you. To preface, I loved seeing guest characters in Tekken 7 such as Noctis, Akuma, and Negan. For Tekken 8, it might not be in the plan, but who would you two like to see as the next guest character and why?
僕は本当デッドプールすごいやりたかった。ただちょっとタイミングとか、あと条件がマーベルで、デッドプールだけじゃなくて、デッドプール出すから、あれもこれもこれもこれもいっぱいついてきちゃう。そんなにいっぱいを出してたらね、何年もかかって出せないっていうので、ちょっと難しかったんですけど、本当はそれやりたかった。
Rose and Deadpool, he really wanted to bring Deadpool to Tekken, but it proved quite difficult because of the timing on both sides, or also if we were to do Deadpool, they also would want several other characters. It couldn't just be like a one-off type of thing. So it turned out to be difficult.
あとあれだ。トランプ大統領がそうですよ。もう世界中の社員からやめた方がいいですってすげえ言われて。
So Harada and I we brought up Trump in the discussion. We thought that would be entertaining. Some people might want to beat up people with him. Some people might want to beat him up, right? It's a win-win for everyone. But people in corporate on basically all branches of our company told us not to do that.
他のスタッフがさ、みんなこれ今同じ職場で仕事してるとして、鉄拳プロジェクトでみんなでゲーム作る、新しいゲーム作ろうってなってるとして、トランプ大統領出そうと俺が言い出したらみんなやっぱ止めますか
He said, if you were on the Tekken team and he said, let's do Trump, would you stop him or no? No. You're hired. Also,
ちょっと僕日本人だからそこの感覚がわかんないですね。
This is a discussion we talk about a lot. Trump was one of our fun discussions, obviously. But I wanted to do John Wick for some time. Tekken's got like a unique feel to it. It's not very Hollywood, right? Like, I mean, Marvel would make sense, but I always thought someone like John Wick was kind of that, if you know what it is, I mean, everyone knows John Wick now, but I think it's just the same type of vibe that would go well in Tekken, Oh, I think Mike Tyson we brought up at one point. But he has a criminal record, so our company does. We did a panel with him though, when you're in
ストリートファイターのワイソー。
But yeah, we'd be calling out Street Fighters in Bisons. Yeah, so those are just some of the ideas we've kicked around.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This question is mainly for Harada. What are your plans for more Idolmaster collabs in the future?
Collabs with Tekken, you mean?
Period.
いや、僕、正直ありだと思うんですけど。
Tekken collabs.
Tekken collabs. いや、やりたいですけど、僕結構思考的にやっぱグローバルに売れるものってしちゃうから、やっぱりアジアの人気が強くて、最近はなんかアメリカも結構人気出てるのかなと思うんですけど、もしこっちでも人気出るんだったらね、実際。
You were just saying that it's something he's always been interested in and would love to do, but he's so used to thinking from a global perspective, like we do with Tekken. And Idolmaster is really Japan-centric or Asia in general. That said, it looks like it's starting to catch on a little bit maybe in the US, but if it becomes bigger, maybe that's something to consider at that time.
Thank you.
It looks like we have time for just one more question before the panel ends.
Hello. Well, my son here, he loves watching his father play, so we thank your team for making it a childhood thing where he's going to be a future Tekken player in the family. My quick question is, when any of the characters are being developed, are any of them inspired by a childhood favorite, whether you read about them or watched them on the TV?
Inspired by childhood what?
Favorite, like movie, character in the book, character in the early mangas.
Oneイメージはそれ単体で入るというよりは、全部がミックスされていて、80年目、これが、そもそも格闘の映画にインスパイアされて、まあ、ものもあるけど、でも今そもそもそういうのってないじゃん。わかんない。
70年代後半から80年代前中半のハリウッド映画が影響を受けてる。
今、この世代は。ここで言わないけど、あるキャラがこれでとか。
あるから、これ日本語分かってるやついるでしょ。分かってる人ってやる。
分かってる。
ほら、トラップに引っかかった。やばい。
冗談言うから笑ってる。
やばい。そうですね。でも、皆さんが思うように、皆さん意外とね、ここにいる方は本来日本に生まれるべき人だと思うんですけど、サンジャパンにいる人は僕は本来日本に生まれるべきだった人だと思うんですけど、結構逆で、だから日本のコンテンツで影響を受けてると思うんですけど、僕のこの日本の50代前後、アラウンド50、僕は50超えてますけど、は割と、小島監督でもそうですけどね、メタルギアハリウッドにものすごい影響を受けてるでしょ、子供の意外なことに。だからちょっと逆の立場かもしれないです。
So he was saying well, we were discussing that it's probably not one particular thing that makes it directly into the game. It's like a mix of all these different elements that you experienced, right? And so he was saying that everyone here is probably likely heavily influenced by anime, manga, the Japanese-centric stuff. But for people in Japan at his age, in the 50s or so, they were quite heavily inspired by Hollywood movies, for example. And this is probably even the same as Kojima-san, perhaps, but most of the developers had been kind of growing up on these movies, and that influence made its way into the game in various ways. So it's hard to pick on. That's the gist of it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you guys so much.
I feel bad for everyone lined up.
They will have a signing going on from 5 to 6 if you guys wanted to come up and say hi. But yeah, that's going to be a wrap for us. Thank you guys so much for everything.